Play 21 1 2. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Wednesday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp on the ones and twos. Mr. Hill, how are you on this Wednesday?
I knew this week wouldn't be absolutely terrible. My Yankees came through for me. Just one game, but they got me a lot more chippy mood than I was on Monday.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
See, you start talking about Anthony Rizzo hitting home runs for the wrong team, and the computer responds. It knows that that's not what's supposed to happen, so it freaks out and tries to correct it. See? That's what happens. That's my captain. He's held hostage in pinstripes. I'm glad he hit a home run. He's my guy. We got a lot to talk about over the next 2 hours. JD PicKell of On 3 Sports going to be with us in 15 minutes, as he is every single Wednesday. Talk about some of our favorite memories in the LSU-Florida series. A little NFL talk in the second hour. And, of course, our SEC Power Ratings at 2:30. But I want to start today with some of the thoughts that T-Bob opened their show with this morning. And he was talking about how much pressure that Brian Kelly is under in this game and moving forward, when always being measured by Billy Napier. As we're well aware, the Florida job and the LSU job came open. LSU's came open first. Florida's came over as things fell apart on Dan Mullen. They couldn't stop anybody, couldn't beat anybody. And both teams were in the hiring pool pretty quickly. Florida jumped on Billy Napier almost immediately, and he became their new head coach. And LSU landed Brian Kelly a little bit later, as Notre Dame was kind of navigating what could be a playoff run. How they got here doesn't really matter. What matters is that they're here. Your thoughts on how their career paths will be measured and whether or not they're always looking at the other one, or the fans are always looking at the other one, and how important is that to you?
I don't think it's important at all. I think kind of how this thing plays out, you'll kind of see and kind of say, oh, well, Florida made the better hire or LSU did the better hire. But I think it's impossible to say that 6 weeks into a season and try to make a huge deal about it. Even in this matchup, whoever wins this game, you can't put everything, especially in year one with so much roster turnover. We know how, vital the transfer portal is. They're just totally revamped teams. And I think to kind of, make a statement or make a conclusion that, oh, well, yeah, if the LSU lost, so, they should have hired Billy Napier. I'm not going to go there. I don't think it's a big deal. I think time will tell this thing. It's way too soon in the process to kind of put a nail on, what that thing was. And I know a lot of people here in the state of Louisiana, they wanted the ULL coach. They wanted him to recruit the great state, put a seal around the borders and all that great stuff. But we'll see. I think the job that Coach Kelly's done in recruiting so far, I think you can kind of, lessen those worries about that and what he's going to do as a recruiter. But we know how important it is to go out there and win games on Saturday, and that's really, what they came here to do. So I'm not going to make a huge fuss about it, especially this early on. But I'm sure there's a lot of people in the state who will.
So for me, these conversations hold a lot more water. If you've got an in-state rival that's the most important thing to you. If you're not necessarily a program that competes for national titles, if you play each other every year, that record gets brought up more. You've had guys get fired from places that didn't necessarily have national championship aspirations because they couldn't beat the rival. And, Pat Dye is celebrated, legendary at Auburn. Never won a national championship, but he owned Alabama for half a decade. Mm-hmm. That becomes important. For LSU and Florida, to me, that is far from the most important thing. Billy Napier has expectations at Florida. Brian Kelly has expectations at LSU. They're very similar because of the statures of the programs. But this deal where we're measuring who does what doesn't matter. Because if Brian Kelly wins 2 more games per year, wins his division 1 more time than Billy Napier, neither one of them ever make the playoffs, and they're both out of here in 9 years, not a single human alive in Baton Rouge is going to go, well, we got the right guy in Kelly. That Napier guy didn't win anything at Florida either. In fact, he was a little bit worse. No. And if Brian Kelly comes here and coaches for 9 years and plays for 2 national championships, wins one of them and wins the league twice, and Billy Napier coaches at Florida for 11 years and wins 2 national titles and everything looks pretty similar, no one's going to, he got 2 and Kelly only got 1 and we only played for 1 more. And they could have had Napier, they would have gotten 2. No one will think that way. Now, if Brian Kelly never gets it off the ground and gets let go after 6 years when they can afford the buyout and he never won more than 8 games and Napier wins 4 titles at Florida, okay, we can have the discussion then. Mm-hmm. If Napier pulls up Ron Zook and is out of there in 3 years and Kelly wins 2 titles, you can go, well, dodged a bullet there. Napier got on the big stage and couldn't get it done, and Kelly won us 2 titles. But the likelihood of either one of those 2 things happening is not that great. So it's, to me, a silly conversation to have. It's okay to acknowledge that they were in the pool at the same time. That's why we had this conversation about would Auburn jump in the pool because there wasn't anybody there, and certainly we know what happens with Texas and Alabama, with Texas and LSU with the Tom Herman and Ogeron thing. And I'm not saying it's a total moot point. What I'm saying is it's probably not relevant.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the avenues to kind of do the things each program wants to do, they're asked to do totally different things. Florida's not going to be staring down Alabama down the throat every single season they have to play. They got to worry about Georgia. So it's just kind of different avenues, different paths. Obviously, we know how important recruiting is. If you're Coach Kelly, you hold the state of Louisiana down, you're going to put yourself in a great spot. I know Billy's going to try to stick his hand in that cookie jar as much as he can, but it's just you actually do different things. You know, if you're the Florida head coach, you want to hold down the state of Florida and obviously go the route that way. So I'm not going to get too much fuss about this. It's just so early on in the process, and I know just the hatred we have for Florida and Baton Rouge, there's always going to be kind of that tie, and when you have to play those guys every single year, so you kind of can't avoid that matchup. But I think for me, I'm not going to overblow this thing. It's way too soon, and we'll kind of see what these coaches do with their tenures at their respective schools. But I'm not going to blow this thing out of the water.
The other side of this is if one of these coaches were to win 7 in a row over the other one, okay, well, that would carry some weight. That hasn't happened much since Spurrier did it to LSU. And the fact of the matter is they're probably not going to play each other after next year every year. So that talking point probably gets tossed out the window because they're going to get rid of the divisions and they're going to have 3 permanent opponents or whatever it is. Could be 9 games. Who knows how often Brian Kelly and Billy Napier coach against each other with LSU and Florida, but it doesn't appear that it's going to be the way it is right now every single year. So, again, I don't think it's a big talking point. This is another one that I wanted to get to because it kind of dovetails into it. This is probably a conversation for a different day, years down the road, but it's the way I feel, and it's something that always gets brought up. And I want your thoughts on it before I give mine. People always talk about, even with the Brian Kelly contract, you got 9 years, $95 million. And you hear that, well, if we're paying you all that money, you have to perform X. You have to perform this. I don't think there's any correlation there, but I'll get your thoughts on, you make the big bucks more than most other people, you better achieve here at LSU.
Yeah, I'm not going there. It's about the resume. Look at Brian Kelly's resume, then look at Billy Napier's resume. Look at the ULL Sun Belt coach and a guy who's got Notre Dame to 2 national titles. It's like you can't make that case. Oh, well, you're paying him so much money. Well, you had to. You want to pry that guy from Notre Dame, you're going to have to break out the paycheck to do that. And obviously, if you're coaching ULL, you're not going to get a pay raise up to $100 million if you're going to coach LSU. So I can't go there with the money thing. I know, obviously, it's a lot of money for the state of Louisiana and all these boosters and all that stuff. But, I mean, when you got the resume that Coach Kelly has, it's hard to make the case that he doesn't deserve that money, especially if you're going to pry him from a school like Notre Dame.
Brian Kelly's expectations here at LSU are the same if he makes $100 million or if he makes $35 to me. If you come here making $35 million a year and you go 8-4 every year, everyone's going to be ticked. If you come here and you make $100 million and you go 8-4 every year, everyone's going to be ticked. This is not like buying a hotel room or a car. If I spend half the money on the hotel room and it's half as good, that's my fault. If I spend half as much money on a car and it breaks down all the time, well, that's my fault for not making the... But this is not like that. The expectation at LSU is the expectation at LSU. Again, $95 million. Your expectation is to challenge for the West, New Year's 6, get to the playoff, win a national championship. Just because if you paid him 6 years, $25 million, like Shane Beamer's getting paid, you wouldn't expect, okay, well, yeah, you can do half that. That'd be fine. If you, yeah, just give me the 8 wins, 9 wins. Man, if you win 10 one year, that'd be good. Because we're only paying you. That's not how this thing works. And so every time someone talks about, well, they're paying him all this money, he better win. No, he's putting the purple and gold on, so he better win. Like, that's, It doesn't have anything to do with money to me. I mean, the pressure then doesn't lie on the coach because he's making so much money. The pressure, because there's so much money involved, goes to the athletic director because he's going to go back to these guys who pay all the money for this and go, hey, I need $100 million because that's how I hire coaches. And they go, not for that.
No, not at all.
That has nothing to do with the head coach's expectation.
I mean, look no further than the last two coaches who won national championships here. The expectations are the expectations. We don't care what skins you have on the wall. We don't care what you've done in the past. Like, the standard is the standard. So once that thing kind of goes off the rails, we don't care what you did. So God forbid you don't win anything to start. You don't have that at least. It's just not what you can do in this state. Like, you're expected to compete for national titles, and you're expected to win them. And I think when the product on the field doesn't, show that, you're not going to be coaching here very long. Whether you're getting $100 million or you're getting $20 million, doesn't matter what you're getting paid. So I'm not going to make a big deal about the money either. I don't know. I didn't listen to T-Bow today, so I don't know what his point was.
His point was, look, Billy Napier wanted this job. They went and got Brian Kelly. You're going to be measured in your tenure based on what Billy Napier does. And while I don't think that's a totally irrelevant talking point because I understand they were both available for hire and you chose one of them, I understand that. But it doesn't change the standard at LSU. Brian Kelly doesn't get off the hook if he coaches 10 years, wins 10 games one time, and never plays in a playoff or a national championship, never wins his division, and Billy Napier flames out in 3 years in Gainesville. No one would look at it and go, oh, well, he's better than Napier, so nice. It's just, the standard is what it is. That's the line you said. The standard is what it is, no matter who you hired.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think for Florida, it's pretty similar there. So I can get, like, if you kind of want to tie, like, you can't go to be the Florida head coach, especially what Urban just did there. Like, the blueprint is already set. So I get it in that front. Like, they're both expected to win. You can't just have 8-4, 8-4, 7-5. Oh, we won a bowl game. Congratulations. Like, no, I get it. That's probably the only correlation I can make between these coaches. But like you said, once you're not playing Florida every year, like, this narrative, it's really like, I mean, does it really matter? Like, it's not that big of a story to me.
And again, like, just to finish this conversation before we get to JD here, Napier's 43, Kelly's 60. They're just at a little bit different points of when they were hired. And is Billy Napier the next Nick Saban to, what we think Kirby Smart could become? He may be. And if it's not and you didn't hire him, okay. If he goes on a run for 17 years and wins 5 national championships, that changes my conversation. Like, it does.
Yeah.
But it's so unlikely that happens that trying to force that down somebody's throat right now when they both coached for a month and a half in real games, I just can't. That's just not where I'm at with this one this week.
I guess the question would be for people in Louisiana, if Herman goes to Texas and he wins a national title, is that a thing that we're like, oh, my goodness, we should have hired that guy? Or since that he fell off the face of the earth, it's like no one gives a care about it anymore.
Yeah, well, and you got the national championship.
So
neither one of those guys had the ending they expected when they took those jobs. But here we are. All right, that will do it for a little bit of Kelly versus Napier talk. We're going to spend the rest of the time on LSU-Florida on the actual game that they're going to play coming up on Saturday in the Swamp. We'll go through our favorite memories from LSU and Florida coming up here in 15, 20 minutes. And then some NFL stuff in hour number 2 before our SEC Power Rankings. But first, we will chat with JD PicKell of On 3 Sports as we do every Wednesday. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Start NFL Week 6 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance for an even bigger payday.
Look, I got the FanDuel Sportsbook out right here. So easy to use. MLB playoffs are going on right now. If you want to fire that up today, they got a few games that you can have working, or the entire NFL card is already laid out right there for you. They got your point spreads, they got your over-unders, and they've got your money lines. You can build those same-game parlays, as they said, or you can find one from the popular ones that are pre-built in your FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN. You don't even have an account. Or if you do have already FanDuel, you're set. Just sign in and see what you got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. 3+ legs. Minimum $1 bet required. Refund issues not withdrawable free bets. Expires 17 days after receipt. Max bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're someone who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar.
This is Hunt and Hill on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Always enjoy our Wednesday chats with JD PicKell of On 3 Sports. You can catch him on the On 3 YouTube channel. Hard count. Joins us now. JD, how are you, sir?
Gentlemen, doing phenomenal on this Hard Hat Wednesday. How are y'all doing?
Doing very well. It's as we generally do. Go back to the weekend that was before we move forward. Vols came at LSU, put a hurting on the Tigers. 40-13 is the final, and LSU was really never in it after fumbling the opening kickoff. Impressed by Tennessee?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Vols, we're going to find out a lot about them this weekend against Alabama, but I think that win at LSU tells us a fair amount about, where that program is at from a psyche standpoint. No Cedric Tillman again. They go to Death Valley. I mean, I don't care if it was at 11 a.m. or 9 p.m., the kind of game they played really just solidified, I think, a lot of things we think about them. So where I'm at right now with Tennessee is the floor is obviously pretty high, and it's a pretty sturdy floor. Now, how high is that ceiling? Does the ceiling exist? I think we find out a lot about that this coming weekend, obviously, with the game of all games in Knoxville with the team from Tuscaloosa coming down there to play the ball. So excited for that one, but very thoroughly impressed by their performance this past weekend in Death Valley.
Alabama's played a ton of really close games over the last 2 years. Now, I realize that the Heisman Trophy winner's not out there. You turn the ball over 4 times, this thing kind of can happen, but A&M had a play from the 2-yard line. Your thoughts on why Alabama continues to play these really tight games?
I think it's a mix of, you have some guys that do things the Saban way, like the Bryce Youngs, Will Andersons, the guys that are just Bama guys through and through. And then you have a fair amount of fresh faces, whether it's from the portal or whether it's new playing time, that just it doesn't feel like they're necessarily doing things the way that Saban calls for. To give you an example, Alabama, of 131 FBS teams today, they are 118th in terms of penalties, meaning they are one of the most penalized teams in the country. Like, to put that stat with the Nick Saban coached organization just boggles my mind. And so I think that is a pretty telling indication of, tons of talent. Bama still has the cupboard stacked with guys, but in terms of doing things the way that Bama has done them in the past with, being solid in the secondary, being able to, not hurt yourself and being able to stretch the field. Like, there's a lot of things about this Bama team that feel like they will be better than they are right now in November. But, until that point, I think they're very, very vulnerable.
Let me take it out west before I think Jeremy will bring it back to the SEC. But everybody kind of fell asleep on the Pac-12 when the opening weekend Oregon got embarrassed and Utah came down to the Swamp and lost. But LSU fans are very familiar with the top two guys on this UCLA offense, Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Zach Charbonnet, because LSU went out there and got beat last year in the opener. Two impressive wins in a row for Chip Kelly's squad. I don't think anybody in their fan base, whatever exists, cares. But are they a threat to win the Pac-12 and make the playoff?
I think they have to be. I think they have to be at this point in time now. There's some games ahead of them that I am very, very curious to see just how far along this program is from a competitive maturity standpoint, meaning can you avoid the upset against the team that you're supposed to beat? But, in terms of what they've been able to do offensively and the way they made that Utah team look, let's call it what it is. They just outclassed them in every sense of the word. They had Utah, begging for mercy in some sense. It was like an interception that ended the game for a pick six that made the score look a little bit better. But when UCLA was able to get in space and draw it up the way they wanted to and get on the edge, Dorian Thompson-Robinson was dealing. Charbonnet, I think, had close to 200 yards rushing. Like, they just have everything going on all cylinders. So now, to your point, we were talking before the year, hey, USC, Utah, the other team probably has to try and beat the opponent twice to be able to have a chance at the college football playoff. But with what we're seeing from UCLA, we may see a USC-UCLA game twice, before this thing's all said and done. So now, with that being said, I think they probably have to be undefeated, whoever it is coming out of the Pac-12, to make the college football playoff. So that's a tall order. But UCLA is kind of one of those dark horses right now, just continuing to trend upward, and they'll have a chance at some point this year to kind of stake their claim.
So many eyes are going to be in Knoxville this Saturday for that big-time matchup. Who do you think should be favored in that game? And also, if Bryce Young isn't playing, how much does that change your decision?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I think most people would probably say if Jalen Milroe's playing quarterback, no knock on Milroe, but just from what we saw from them a week ago, you probably lean a little bit more towards Tennessee than you already were. In regards to who should be favored, I think the right team is favored with Alabama. Like, they're still the big dog on the block. There's still some things we haven't seen from Tennessee yet against this kind of caliber of competition. But, in terms of picking that game, I don't know if that was something that y'all were going to ask a little bit later on, but I think Tennessee wins this game outright. Like, I truly do. I think for the reasons we talked about earlier, Bama's vulnerable in that secondary. Whether Cedric Tillman plays or not, Tennessee has got some dudes on the outside. Hendon Hooker has just been that guy. It's in Knoxville. Like, everything is sort of coming together for that perfect storm to where, this might be one of those weekends where the tide falls. Now, with that being said, I'll also make sure I slip this in here. What we talked about with Bama being a lot better later in the year than they are right now, I think that's possible. And I think you still could see this Alabama team sort of taste their own blood and then just run the table the rest of the way and get in the playoff. Like, that's a reality that we all know could happen. So, but as far as this weekend goes, Bama should be favored. But, I think when all the dust settles, you're gonna have a very happy Tennessee squad.
It's a conversation for another day, but man, if Tennessee can beat Alabama, and then Georgia can beat Tennessee, and then Alabama can beat Georgia, I don't know. I don't know what the committee does at that point. But again,
it's unbelievable. There's anarchy.
That's a conversation again, I think, for another day. Do you think Georgia kind of woke up a little bit? They didn't score in the first quarter against Auburn, but then rattled off 42 over the last three and won very comfortably.
Yeah, man, I don't know yet still about Georgia. The concern for me is it seems like it takes the right logo to get their attention, which is great when, you can overdrive and when you do have that right logo in front of you. But I mean, they still will have some chances to lose here to some really quality football teams even before they do play Tennessee. So I'm curious to see where their psyche's at as we get further and further along into the year. It kind of feels like for all parties involved, we're watching Bama, we're watching Georgia, and we're still having that goodwill, that good faith, knowing what they potentially could be with all the guys on their roster, with who their head coach is, with the experience. But to the same token, like, I understand that we're ranking them where they're at right now because of what they've done in the past, and they've been really dominant at points this year. But, I mean, in 2022, I think a lot of people would say they expected more from both Alabama and Georgia at this point in the year. Now, still undefeated, still control their own destiny, but November needs to be a big wake-up call for both programs. Otherwise, it's going to be an awkward selection Sunday.
It's a monstrous weekend on the card. I know as of Wednesday, we all kind of lock in on what's coming up and put everything else in the rearview mirror. Anything that we haven't touched on, even nationally, even in the SEC, wherever, that you've really got your eyes on this weekend, one particular matchup?
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what happens in that Big Ten game with Michigan welcoming Penn State to town. JJ McCarthy, the wonderkind, right? Like, I think he's leading the country in terms of completion percentage on the year. Like, he is a dude. He's special, all these things. But at the same time, like, we haven't seen him play against a really formidable defense. Yeah, that's not a knock against Iowa, but I think Penn State with that front seven, they get after the quarterback. And for how young J.J. McCarthy is, for how early it is in his maturation process, I think we could all attest to the fact that there's always some moment. There's always, whether it's a quarter, whether it's a game, whether it's a couple games, there's always sort of that growing pain moment. What does that look like for J.J. McCarthy, and when does that happen? It's kind of like puberty, right? Like, some guys get mustaches, and they're the cool kid in the 8th grade. Some of us get acne, and it just sort of takes a while for us to get our confidence back. What kind of version do we get of those growing pains of J.J. McCarthy, and do we see that potentially in this game? I'm very fascinated by that and think that tells us a lot about the picture in the Big Ten, what that'll look like.
You didn't mention the kid who it takes forever to hit puberty, and so he gets thrown out from right field twice in one baseball season because he can't hit it very far. I'm not going to name any names at this set, but it may have happened to me. Can't confirm, but it may have happened to me. Last one, Oklahoma's 0-3 in Big 10 and Big 12 play. Little rocky start there for Brent Venables. Where are you on that era and where they sit right now with that program?
Yeah, I mean, behind where I think a lot of us assumed they would be, behind where I assumed they would be at least. Now, no Dylan Gabriel probably makes that score in Red River a lot worse than potentially it would have been. But, I mean, it's a very real thing. Like, they have issues in Oklahoma, and this year is, in every sense of the word, a dumpster fire. So I think you're fighting to get bowl eligible. I think you're fighting to get the thing back on the rails, because as this thing continues to drift, like, you start to worry about, okay, who's going to jump in the portal from this class? Are we going to lose kids that were committed because of what they saw us do on the field, and they think I probably want to be at a more competitive program? So I think that's like the real time victim of the moment kind of effects. But long term, and then we said this on our show the other night, like, if you sat down with Jeff Lebby and Brent Venables and talked through the tape with them and like had questions for, hey, why'd you do this on defense? Hey, what happened here on offense? Why are y'all running it that way? I promise you, both of them would say, that's not what we coach, that's not what we run, that's not how we do things. And so I say all that to say, I don't think either Brent Venables or Jeff Lebby would put their name next to the product that's on the field, both offensively or defensively, which gives me the thought that, okay, long term, given, sort of the success these, I say coordinators because Brent Venables was a coordinator, obviously, at Clemson, it's going to get better. Like, it's going to be a full revamp, it's going to get better, but it's not, it's not what it is right now, if that makes sense. Like, it's going to be something that it's not right now. And there's got to be a little bit of good faith with all the turnover they've had. So, unfortunate, but got to take the lumps this year in Norman.
Follow him on Twitter at JD PicKell, the hard count with JD PicKell, part of the On3 YouTube channel. Thanks for your time, man. We'll do it next week.
Appreciate y'all. See y'all next week. Have a great one.
Sounds good. He is JD PicKell. I'm a little jarred by the Oklahoma deal. You realize what Jeff Lebby was doing there with Lane Kiffin and calling those kind of plays. You realize what Brent Venables had on the defensive side of the ball for so long at Clemson. You would figure that would be a pretty good pair to coach them up, and they stink. I mean, they're just terrible.
Yeah, I think that TCU game was extremely alarming, and they parlayed that with an even worse performance last week. And that's a big hole in Lincoln Riley. People don't realize just how important it is when you have an innovative play caller who's had multiple Heisman winners, and he's doing all the things they do, and you take that guy away from a program, obviously he's going to take the best quarterback, the receivers, and you just think, oh, well, we're Oklahoma. We score a ton. No, it just doesn't work that way. So, yeah, that's definitely a shock. Probably one of the more shocking storylines in college football this season.
Love the rivalry, hate the scheduling. Either way, LSU and Florida have played for 30 years in a row. We'll go back down memory lane, talk about some of our favorites. That's next. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Reliable Roofing and Construction, ReliableRoofingBR.com.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
Inspections, they got you covered. Repairs, they got you covered. Full roof replacement, they got you covered at Reliable Roofing. If your homeowner's carrier is going to non-renew you because they're moving out of the state of Louisiana, this happens a lot. It happened to me this month. And you got to get a new carrier on that roof. Sometimes they're going to look at your roof and say, we're not going to insure that. You're going to have to get a replacement. Reliable Roofing and Construction can help you if that is the case so that you can get an insurance carrier on your home. Got a 5-year labor warranty. They got all the shingle options you're going to need, and they got the highest quality of shingles as well. And Lionel Harris, their owner, is going to visit every single web site that his employees work on over there at Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check out the website, ReliableRoofingBR.com. All the before and after pictures right there. You can check out the work that they're very proud of, as they should be. Reliable Roofing and Construction at ReliableRoofingBR.com.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm JD. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdcody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So many memories to choose from in the LSU-Florida rivalry that could be the last one next year in terms of every single year as they cross over in terms of divisions. Feel like one more year of that, and then they're going to break the whole thing down and start over from scratch. So I wanted to go back over some favorites, and I never want to talk about this rivalry and not talk about the fact that the 97 Florida game for me, and this is what I did for Throwback Thursday last year for this game, set the hook for me forever. I mean, I was already an LSU fan. I remember the Warren Morris home run. I remember the 95 Independence Bowl when I was 7 and they came to Shreveport and everybody thought it was a huge deal, and they beat Michigan State. So I certainly was already an LSU fan, but my dad gave me the option of coming down to the Florida game in 97 or playing in my soccer game that Saturday. I was 9 years old. And he was like, and I was like, I want to go to the game. I don't want to play in soccer game. I want to go to the LSU game.
Mm-hmm.
And then sitting in the south end zone where they scored all their points, Herb coming around on the option, Tommy Banks, the pick 6 from Donaldson, Spurrier throwing his hat, throwing his visor. That game to me, and watching everybody charge the field for a 9-year-old, it set the hook on me for life, and it ended up, now I do it for a job. I mean, it's like that game will always hold a really, really special place for me. Is there one that stands out to you over the years, whether one you played in? Tons of memorable ones. I've got a whole list here, but is there one that jumps out to you?
I mean, I got to go back to one I played in because the year before, that was probably one of the just ugliest offensive performance you could ever be a part of.
2012 in the Swamp was not great.
Yeah, it was just bad. Like, I don't think we could have played any worse than we did. And those guys are just talking so much. They had Elam and all these guys just talking. And then we got a chance to play them at home. Day game, 2:30. And I think we just absolutely dominated them in that game. And so it was great. And I always love as a running back to end the game in 4-minute drill. And they want to get you off the field. They want to get you punting the ball back. And they just can't stop, toss, dive. It's coming right down your throat. And just there's nothing you can absolutely do about it. But that was a great one. But there's so many. I think as a fan, the one I'm obviously going to go back to, the Hester game. Yeah, I was at that game as a young recruit in my recruiting process, just kind of learning the ropes and figuring out this whole thing. But when I say that's probably one of the most electric atmospheres I've ever been a part of. And I remember pre-game, I don't know if it was that year. I don't think it was the same year, but one of those years, Florida was like I think it was the year they kind of beat us pretty bad. They're on the middle of the field. You see Spikes like jumping on the eye of the Tiger. And I don't think it was that same game, but I think that 07 game for me, just seeing the way they won that game, just constantly, Les Miles special. We're coming right at you. It's coming 4th and 1. Deal with it, and seeing Hester convert time and time again and be able to win that game. I think for me as a fan, that's probably my favorite one.
One of the ones that I don't think gets as much pub because it actually ended up being one that derailed LSU's season was in 2002 after just a reign of dominance from Florida, excluding the 97 game. LSU goes down to the Swamp and, I mean, absolutely waylays Steve Spurrier in Florida. Unfortunately, Matt Mauck, who was still out there as the quarterback in the fourth quarter, broke his foot and didn't play the rest of the season, and LSU really struggled after that outside of the Bluegrass Miracle. But it was a little bit of an exercising the demons deal. Yeah, beating Spurrier when he was number 1 at home is sweeter because that's unbelievable. But this was just a thorough whipping, and that was really awesome to sit there and see. Lita Tolliver in 2008 in the Swamp down there at the end was crazy. No, that was in 2010. Sorry, the 2010 Lita Tolliver. 2008 did not go well. I was there for that one. That was a 50-point shellacking. But that 2010 fake field goal to Jasper, and then they throw the fader out to Tolliver in the corner of the end zone. I was there for that one as well. Was incredible. The image of Urban Meyer telling them that the fake field goal that was a flip over the head was actually a forward pass, and then he tells the official that, and the officials go like, "Oh yeah," and they go to talk about it, and Meyer demonstrably points first down the other way because it was a 4th down kick, obviously, and then find out it was not a lateral. It was not a forward pass. It was in fact still lateral, and you could still pick it up and run with it. And then they threw the ball to Tolliver for the touchdown there at the end. 2014, Ricky Jefferson's got that pick to the end of the game, and Delahousie drills a 50-yarder to win the game.
Kobe.
Awesome. And then, of course, I used this on the post-game show, and I used it on the airwaves here. When the game was not very impactful in 2020, but it was so memorable for so many things. LSU had like no players left. COVID year, opt-outs, COVID injuries. There's nobody left. There's nobody in the swamp because you could only do whatever, 40% capacity, 20% capacity, whatever it was. There's nobody in there. The fog was just hellacious. My job in the press box that day was to be the spotter for Chris Blair, which if you haven't seen Chris's Twitter or on Facebook, he's got these big, almost like half poster boards that have all the players. One board has Florida's offense and LSU's defense. The other board has Florida's defense and LSU's offense, so that the units that match up are on the same board. And they've got a little nugget about each player, their number, or whatever. And he's watching the game through the binoculars, making the call. If you've seen the stuff on Facebook, which is in the booth. And the spotter's job is to point to who catches it, point to who makes a tackle, and help Chris to call the game. Jim Nickel generally does it for LSU, has for a long time. And he couldn't go that week, so I said, hey, can you come do the spotting? I was like, sure, I've never done that before, but I'll give it a shot. And it's a little tougher than you would think. You got to get the binoculars on. You got to make sure you're right. You got to know the numbers for the other teams, and you get a flow of it as the game goes on. By the end of the third quarter, I'm looking at Chris going, I can't see the field. I don't know who caught the ball. Yeah. I don't know. I can't see almost anything. And then they're lining up for a game-winning kick. There's no chance from the press box of the swamp you could see the referees. So I took my binoculars out and watched Cade York kick the ball. And he took off running and chomping. And I went, well, he had to have made it on that reaction. So that looks good to me. But for so many reasons, the shoe throw, the fog, the field goal, nobody being in the swamp, nobody being on LSU's roster, it was not the most impactful of these because there are a lot of national champions decided over the years. But it was as memorable as any game I've ever been to.
Yeah, no, that was crazy because if I remember correctly, wasn't the spread for that like 35 or something?
I mean, Florida,
something
Trask
crazy.
was going to win the Heisman.
Yeah, I remember that spread, and I think they were just pretty much banking on us just walking through LSU and them not having a pulse at all. But look, got the greatest kicker in LSU history, man. Don't give that guy a chance to win the game. He's got, what's going to happen, man. That's Big K we're talking about here. But yeah, that game was one of those where, I think the infamous Eli Ricks interception, that was a big-time game when the Tigers really, had no business winning that game against that Florida team who had national championship aspiration that year. You look at that roster that they had from Tony to Pitts and the quarterback. That team was a team that, really could have done some things, but losing LSU, you just could not do. And, the Tigers came up and had a big-time win at Florida.
I'll tell you what, those Urban Meyer teams in 06, 7, 8, not as much when you got to 10 because once Tebow left, they went with Driscoll. It just never really worked, Brantley. But those teams with Tebow and Jeff Demps and Chris Rainey and Percy Harvin and Riley Cooper and Aaron Hernandez and Brandon Spikes and Matt Elam, and it was absurd how much talent they had on those teams. And Les's teams during that era had a boatload of talent too, all those Hester-era teams. And it was such a massive deal. And in 2010, which was Tebow's last year, they came in, and he's coming off 2 weeks after a concussion against Kentucky where he just got knocked into next week. And, he didn't practice much, and the whole thing was like, all right, is he going to play or was he not going to play? And I'm sitting there hoping he doesn't play because he's awesome, and I'm trying to win the game. And he does play, and he was nothing like the Tim Tebow you had seen for 3 years. He did not run. He was throwing balls away, getting rid of it quick. They ran the ball a ton, and they just didn't need to because Riley Cooper got away with an offensive pass interference, got his way into the end zone for a touchdown, and Florida's defense, with all those ridiculous guys that played pro for a long time, LSU couldn't score a point. And it was just an absolute clinic by Florida's defense, and it was so frustrating because you watch Tebow, you've watched him for 3 years running around, running over linebackers, yelling at people, screaming, and he was just standing in the pocket like flipping the ball out here, flipping it there. Just nothing to him in terms of emotion or the performance you're used to seeing, but LSU couldn't score, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, I think you guys did a great job blowing his cell phone up. You probably got
I did that. I can still hear his voicemail. Hey, you've reached Timmy Tebow.
yeah, that was a total sleeper for the LSU offense. Of course, I remember that one as a recruit as well.
That was the 07 game.
Yeah, so that was one of those ones, man. But you got to kind of give Urban credit. I know he's not getting much credit lately, but some of those defense he was able to put together. I'll talk about NFL defenses, secondary linebackers, defensive front. It was just hard to stop. Thinking you're going to run toss I 50 times against that. probably tough toenails to get done.
So look, I know that Hester cherishes the Florida rivalry when he was here, and the guys from that era certainly do. And I understand the memories it's created and the great games we've gone through, and at its core, that's really what college football is about. But as I've said time and time again, every time I get a microphone in front of me, I care about winning national championships and winning football games. And if I get a chance to go to Vandy and beat them by 100 and rest my starters in the second half and keep trucking towards the national title, I'll take that, because we've lost a bunch of games to Florida as well. So I won't be too disappointed to see it go when you show me what the actual schedule is going to be, because, again, it doesn't make me super happy if I'm fighting for a division title with Ole Miss in 2003 or whenever that may be, and they're playing Vanderbilt every year and I'm playing Florida. I got a little beef with that. So that's just the way I've always felt about that rivalry. But I do understand those that love those huge games and love the memories they make. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just telling you the way that I feel. I do think there are some people that are wrong in this way, and things are driving me crazy this week. So we'll close out the hour with what is driving me nuts this week and as of the last 24 hours. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford, check out the inventory, BayouFord.com. We tell you about the inventory all the time. Jeremy will tell you about some great deals, but also love telling you about their service department over there at Bayou Ford. Look, I know that sitting in a car dealership waiting for them to fix your car, figure out what's wrong, is not a lot of fun, and we've all got work to get to. We got kids to get to school and to practice and to dance and wherever they got to go, and you just can't sit around and waste a whole day sitting there waiting for them to fix your car. That's why Bayou Ford makes things so convenient with their service department. They have drivers on staff with loaners. They will drive to you. They will drop a loaner off. They will pick your car up. They will bring it to the service department. They will service that vehicle and have it right back to you, so you never miss a beat. It's all about convenience with that service department over at Bayou Ford. Can't match it.
Yeah, head over to BayouFord.com. They have the all-new 2022 Ford Expedition Timberline, tinted windows, ready to lift 3 kid on there. Also, all-new 2021 Ford F-150s. They're getting $14,000 off MSRP, including the Black Widow edition.
Check out the inventory at BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. Peter Burns and Russ Mitchell join the show. We'll head up to Cincinnati, take a closer look at the Bengals. It's a Whiskey Wednesday. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our SEC Power Rankings coming up in 40 minutes. We'll do those at 2:30 as usual. Buzzwords are getting me. They're grinding my gears the last 24 hours here in Tiger Country. We're grabbing onto the term players-only meeting far too firmly. We need to let it go. In the context that we're talking about with a players-only meeting, people are envisioning the players locking the door and 80 of them screaming at each other because 30 are trying to hit the transfer portal, 13 are already not there, and the coach already got fired, and they're trying to keep the program together. That's not what's happening here. Not that I'm there, but it's okay if the DBs, 8 of them, get together in their room without any coaches and talk about some things. Something I saw on film, something we did in practice today, something that I saw on the field on Saturday that didn't go so hot. Players-only meeting is a huge buzzword. Players talking about their season and some of the things they've experienced together over the last 3 days. Can we stop? Can everyone chill out, please?
Yeah, I've said this last week. Like, who cares? Like, you're in a player meeting every single day. You're in the roommate with your guys. You're going work out with your guys. There's literally a player meeting all throughout the day. Are we gonna go report that too? Like, what is this?
Players only meeting. They were all eating enchiladas in the chow hall. 3 of them got Cokes.
Like, where's this headed?
What are we doing?
Yeah, it's bad, man. And I think people were just envisioning that Tim Tebow speech. Like, we're not gonna lose another game.
You'll never see a player play harder than me the rest of this season.
Yeah, guys, relax, man. Look, you didn't play well. It's just you don't want to lose at home the way you did. But can we relax? Like, you can look. I don't mind if you wake up at 5:30 every morning, get the whole team together, go get a morning run in. We don't have to announce every single thing to the media. That's absolutely insane. But I guess they're trying what they can. It never feels good to lose, and I'm sure that it just sticks in your car a little bit there, but we gotta chill. Like, we're at a 10 with these player meetings. Like, we're gonna have a Twitter feed, a Twitter account for the player meetings. Like, get some of this streamed out to the world. Like, we gotta slow down with this stuff. It's getting a little crazy.
So Shea tweeted this yesterday. Said Mekhi Garner said team leaders had a players only meeting Monday after the loss. He said the message was lopsided result and their execution was unacceptable. Garner said they started with special teams and poured into the rest. He said it was a great reset for the team. It's just, I think there's just, I can just hear, and I'm not picking on you, Taylor, because I was going to say this, and then you actually said it in the break. But it's like, it worked so good last time. It's like, it's not a crisis meeting. It's just, they're just talking. And Mekhi Garner said the players got together. Would you rather they all just leave and not talk? We've got finished up practice, go to the bowling alley, and or would you rather them try to talk about things and maybe improve?
Yeah, look, I don't mind it at all. Like, look, do what y'all got to do. If y'all feel like things are, going the wrong way and it's just slipping a little bit and it's not what y'all are expecting, yeah, have as many player meetings as you want. But announcing it to the world like it's some end-all, be-all, and the media's going to have our back and the fan base will know that we're trying our dearest and our hardest to, win for the Tigers. It's like, guys, come on. Just go play well on Saturday. No one cares about the player meetings. We don't care what it takes during the week. It doesn't matter. Like, no one cares about that. You can announce this every day for the end of the season. It's not going to change anything. Just like you said, like, you had a great player meeting with the offense, that passing attack, guys. We're going to talk with everybody. Relax.
I think and maybe this could be an interesting change if you kind of look at it from the other way. Maybe I'm overreacting because Shea tweeted, Mekhi Garner said the team had a players-only meeting. Then Koki Riley tweeted that Mekhi Garner just revealed LSU had a players-only meeting on Monday. Then Zach Nagy tweeted, Mekhi Garner said we had a players-only meeting on Monday. And the term players-only meeting, I think that's what I'm reacting to so viscerally. And it's not just the term, it's that when everyone sees it, they throw their hands up like it's some sort of crisis mode thing. And I just have to implore you to pump the brakes a little bit.
Well, I'll ask you this. How many player meetings you hear coming from Tuscaloosa or from Athens or from Tennessee? You hear any of those coming out lately? You think those guys have to player meet every other week? And
I bet they're all doing the same thing to a certain extent and talking about what they want to do and studying more film together and looking at the game plan. And,
don't have to announce it, though.
I can't.
Yeah, don't have to announce it, guys. Have as many as you want. Just keep it to yourself, man. It's not going to help you.
Top NFL rookies for the season. See where Chris Olave ranks at the top of the hour. And then we'll also do our SEC Power Rankings at 2:30. Come back with us after SportsCenter. Hour 2 coming at you, Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah! Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge. Innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% with 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Raiders star receiver Davante Adams has been charged with misdemeanor assault for shoving a credentialed media worker after the loss to the Chiefs on Monday night. The man shoved by Adams suffered whiplash, a headache, and possible minor concussion from the incident. Adams apologized after that incident. He is facing discipline from the NFL. ESPN NFL analyst Marcus Spears.
It's just a bad situation for Davante that he probably didn't think much about, and he didn't think all of this would come out of it. It's a super unfortunate situation that should have been handled better first by Davante Adams. But also, I'm sure that the NFL is going to look at protocol when these dudes are exiting the field now as well.
Marcus Spears on First Take. Dolphins rookie quarterback Skylar Thompson will make his first career start against the Vikings on Sunday as Tua Tagovailoa and Teddy Bridgewater both remain in concussion protocol. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott today threw passes for the first time since having surgery on his right thumb. He still, though, is expected to miss a fifth straight game against the Eagles on Sunday. Dallas is preparing meantime for Cooper Rush to start again in Prescott's place.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Well, I just want to know if you picked up your NIL check from back in the day yet.
They would have, put it this way, Coach, they would have to sell a university.
More from KJ and Max Thursday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. 1, 2, 3.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm a little nervous for these SEC Power Rankings coming up in 30 minutes.
Wacky week last weekend, and I got absolutely crushed on the slate. So my rankings are just,
I mean, we got quarterbacks hurt. I don't know how you're supposed to weigh that in, but we'll get it done here at 2:30. It's hour 2 here of Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I want to send congratulations to Alex Oob of Berwick. Alex is our Week 6 winner in the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em Contest and wins $50 of Twin Peaks gift cards. Don't forget to make your picks for Week 7 by 5 p.m. on Thursday. Play the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em today at 1045ESPN.com. ESPN pumped out a list today of the top 10 rookies in 2022. I thought was all right. Well, where's Chris Olave? I think he's played pretty well. I think he's been pretty solid. The Saints offense hasn't been great, but he's been pretty productive. The statistics thus far, 25 catches for 389 yards and 2 touchdowns. And ESPN agreed. They have him as the number 1 rookie in this class. Do you have any qualms with that?
No. I think that's about what you expected when Saints fans were so excited when they drafted him the first round. Had to move a little capital to get that done, but I think everyone was pleased with the draft pick, and he's followed that up with the play on the field, which I think is so important. Especially, I think, with Michael Thomas missing the time that he has, it's opened up a window for him to get more targets, and it seems like him and Dalton have a little bit more rapport than him and Jameis did to start the season, and I think Chris is going to have to be that guy for this team. When you look at Michael Thomas, you look at Jarvis Landry and kind of the other receivers they have, Traquan Smith or whoever you want to name, he's their best threat of stretching the field vertically in the passing game, and I think he's done a great job, for a rookie who's learning on the fly week in and week out and kind of figuring out how to win against these NFL defensive backs. I have no quarrels with him being ranked as highly as he has because he's definitely been a productive player.
He's a 13.5 yard average for his length of reception. That's 6th in the league. And I think maybe sometimes, Jeremy, we put too little emphasis on chemistry between wide receivers and quarterbacks. It's like, for me, it's like, all right, he's running a post route. He's open throwing the ball. If he's not, he's not. But there's obviously a lot more that goes into it. And you feel like Olave is jiving a little bit with Andy Dalton, and that, by the same token, Max and Keyshawn were awesome together, and it hadn't been the same in terms of productivity this year with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, no, I talk about it all the time. That's probably one of the most important things in football is having that rapport with your receivers, especially, you know, with one of your best weapons on the team. And we kind of saw that in Baton Rouge last year with Max and obviously in Kayshawn, and you can just go on and on, you know, with that whole thing, Jamar and Joe, you can just go on and on with that thing. So, yeah, I think for the Saints, kind of finding that with these receivers, obviously you don't want to be going back and forth between this quarterback and that quarterback, and it just really throws off the timing of everything. In the NFL, it's so much about timing. You got defensive linemen coming after quarterback trying to take his head off. The ball has to come out, and the receivers has to be in those spots at the right time. And I think, you know, for Chris, he's learning that at a very, you know, fast pace. And when you run a 4.3, it probably helps with that whole thing. So
it sure does.
Yeah,
I told this story all the time. When I used to go out and cover the 2011 team, you'd have Jordan Jefferson go through first, and you'd have Jarrett Lee go through and run his reps second, and then you'd have Zach Mettenberger run through and run his reps third, and I think Steven Rivers was maybe fourth on that team. And that was the rotation that went through. And I noticed as I was out there that every time Jarvis Landry ran a route that was on air, this is when they're just running right at the beginning of practice, they're running hitch routes, they're running little posts, they're running outs, they're running goes, whatever. Every time Jarvis Landry would go, I loved watching him because sometimes he'd do the one-handed catches and whatnot. He's running through the line, and there's Reuben Randall, and there's Odell, and there's James Wright, and there's Kadrian Boone, there's Jarvis. And I keep, every single time Jarvis goes, Mettenberger's throwing the ball. I was like, what? And so I started watching him, and he would literally move in line to get with Met. And so I asked him about it later on. He was like, yeah, that's what I did. And he had the foresight to know, you know, I got hurt in camp in 2011, a freshman. Ruben's catching a bajillion balls. Odell's out there. I'm not playing very much. My time here at LSU is going to be on 8. And that is what ended up happening.
Yeah, no, that's definitely some great foresight for a young guy. But we know Jarvis the way he is. He's definitely a deep thinker, and he kind of knows what it takes to play at a high level and to try to convert, especially probably one of the best third down converters I've ever seen. He's just so strong hands, and his ability to kind of continue to make plays is to me, that's what makes him the football player that he is. But yeah, we talk about it all the time. Like you got to have that rapport with the quarterback. You've kind of seen it this year. Like look no further than our passing attack this season. It just seems like maybe Malik is his favorite guy. I think Mason Taylor, which is another one of his guys. But you know, that's his kind of, you know, the only two I think he really feels that comfortable, you know, targeting time and time again. So I think they're really the great passers of the football. They have that with all their wideouts. You know, it doesn't matter who they're throwing to, they'll spread it around to whoever, and the passing attack takes no hits. But I think, you know, when you're looking at the Saints and what Olave's bringing, I think you're going to continue to see Dalton. I don't know if they kind of go back to Jameis at this point, especially with mixing Taysom in the package that he has. But I wouldn't upset that apple cart if I'm the Saints. I kind of see where that takes us, and especially getting Michael Thomas back with Andy, I think that's probably the direction they should probably go in.
I don't disagree in terms of functionality for this team, but they got too much invested at Jameis and too much upside there to try to explore to see if he can be their guy for the future to mortgage that for this year. That is my opinion. We'll see. We're going through the top 10 rookies in the NFL. Chris Olave, the ESPN #1. Sauce Gardner, #2. Dameon Pierce, Florida product, has been fantastic for Houston. He was drafted 107th overall and found a good one there. Breece Hall with the Jets at #4. Devin Lloyd of the Jaguars at 5. Tariq Woolen of the Seahawks, who's 153rd pick in the draft. Seems like they may have hit on him. He's played really well, 3 picks early on. Garrett Wilson of the Jets. Trayvon Walker, #1 overall pick, #8 to the Jags. Drake London, NFC Souther there, #8 for the Falcons, and number 9. And Jalen Petrie of the Texans, #10. What catches your eye there of all those guys?
Where's Stingley at?
Sting did not make the cut, nor did Aiden Hutchinson.
Interesting. I guess I got to go back to PFF because of the film I've been watching. Sting's been doing a great job as a rookie, and I know Sauce has been playing out of his mind. I thought, you know, coming from Cincinnati, it was kind of like, man, they took that kid really, really high in this draft, but his plays backed it. Sauce has been playing great cornerback play all year, but I think my boy Sting should get a little consideration. Got his first career interception last week, matching up with teams' #1 receivers week in and week out, which is just very, very difficult to do as a rookie. I don't know. I feel like my boy should get a little love there.
So they give the top 10, which I ran through. Then they've got just missed Jack Jones, a corner for New England, Tyler Linderbaum, the center for the Ravens, and then Aiden Hutchinson from the Lions. So that's 3 more. And then also received votes. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 guys in front of Stingley there. So they're talking about him in the early 20s.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's a little slightly my boy Sting just eating disrespect from the Tiger fans, not from the guys grading the film. Like, I don't know what my boy has to do. What, he needs 5 pick sixes to start the season to get some love around here? But no, I think I got to respect the job he's been doing as a young rookie in this league who didn't play much football last year. I think he's doing a good job. So we'll see how the season kind of plays out. He can always update that resume and, obviously get a little more love from the masses. But, yeah, I still think he should be on this list somewhere.
We talked about Sting a lot, leaving LSU, going to the draft in terms of where he ranked in the pantheon of DBs over the last 15 years because there have been so many awesome ones, really 20 years. And, he had a chance to be as productive as any of them. He was never going to be quite as explosive, in my opinion, to the eye as Patrick Peterson was. Mm-hmm. Some of those kick returns Pete had, I mean, what he did against North Carolina in the opener in 2010, it was sick what he was doing. And had some really athletic interceptions and whatnot. Not that Stingley didn't, but in terms of just ball skills, fundamentals, being where you're supposed to be, and his freshman year production, Stingley was ahead of all of them after a year, and then just never materialized after that.
Yeah, and I think obviously injuries played a big role in that. And I know for the fans, it's like you can't get injured. If you're injured, you're turning your back on the team. You're a treasonous person, and you just don't have any love for LSU and the purple and gold. But like the kid's banged up, man. He can't. Sometimes you just can't avoid those injuries. But if you just look at that freshman tape, man, it's hard to find many more DBs playing the level that he was, especially when you tackle on the amount of interceptions that he has. So yeah, I'm always going to cheer for Sting. I love his ability to go out there and continue to compete when he's on the field, and I think you're going to continue to see that throughout his career.
Remind you to check out dropbiscuit.com and browse our growing library. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to Pops, Fame, You Talking to Me, For the People, Well Stated, or whatever Southern-flavored audio biscuit you may fancy. That is dropbiscuit.com. No scores in the MLB as of yet. Phillies and Braves look like they're going to be delayed a little bit over in Atlanta, and then tonight, the nightcap, Padres at the Dodgers. Going to be Yu Darvish and Clayton Kershaw on the bump. Saw a really good FanDuel boost there. If they total the two starters there, Kershaw and Darvish, if they total 10 strikeouts, then you get plus 110, boosted from a severely minus number. That is just about free money. So check out that out on FanDuel. I'll tell you about it a little bit later. But when we come back, LSU got some really, really good news on the football field today. We'll tell you what that was when we come back. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Been telling you for a couple of weeks now about One Bath and Closets. The website is onebathandclosets.com. David Duvall, been in the business of renovating and redesigning bathrooms and closets for 30 years. And One Bath and Closets is your spot if you want to renovate or remodel that closet or get a new, fresh-looking bathroom in your home. You don't have to move to improve your space. David Duvall and his crew at One Bath and Closets can do it. Check out the website. All their activity is right there. You can check out some pictures, see some testimonials. It's all there at onebathandclosets.com. And look, they promise you they're not going to take shortcuts to get to the next job. You see that with contractors far too often. And they got to come back 2, 3, 4 weeks later and fix something. That is not going to happen with One Bath and Closets. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Go to onebathandclosets.com. Check out my guy, David Duvall. He can come to your home, start that process of getting you into a brand new bathroom or a freshly renovated closet. One Bath and Closets, the website, onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm.
On Thursday's OTB, the weekend is here, and let's open up a new weekend of football as we preview all the best games from college and the NFL, and a brand new edition of Munchies. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Some good news out of Metairie today. Jameis Winston seen practicing in the media session for the New Orleans Saints, so good to have him back in action. The SEC coaches had their teleconference this morning, and some really good news for the Fighting Tigers today.
Yeah, Will was released from the hospital. He has cleared all of the testing necessary for him to practice. He practiced yesterday. He will practice again today, and we expect him to play this Saturday.
So that's awesome news. Brian Kelly there talking about Will Campbell and that he was released for the hospital on Monday, cleared every test he was looking at, was able to practice on Tuesday, and is expected to be out there. And I think that you look at the way this offensive line has played, the amount of different pieces they've had to move all over the place to get your left tackle back is a big deal.
Yeah, who would have thought we'd be, begging for the freshman left tackle to be inserted back in the lineup? But that's exactly where you are. You need Will Campbell out there. Obviously, in the run game, I thought you took a huge blow last week. Just couldn't really get anything going. There just wasn't anything there. And when Will Campbell was in that lineup, you were able to do some things against Mississippi State running the football. So I think getting him back out there, especially in the passing game, that extra second, I know it's a game of inches. You may need that extra second to get the ball out, maybe get that running lane for Jaden. But I think getting Will out there is definitely going to help this offensive line out a bunch.
Look, I could sit here and give you my huge sweeping judgments and thoughts on Will Campbell being plugged back in and Anthony Bradford not being out of left tackle and him plugging back in, or whether or not you want to put Xavier Hill in there or Campbell. Or I could just let the guy who's watched dozens of hours of film on this offensive line tell me. And what Brian Kelly says is that they lose a little bit of physicality when Bradford has to kick out to tackle. He's just better in there at guard, but they're limited at guys that can actually go out there and function at tackle. They think that Bradford's one of them. So without me giving you anything, just what Brian Kelly thinks, it's better if they can get Anthony Bradford moved back inside and then move Campbell back to the outside where you got those freshman tackle bookends. So look, this was a scary deal when you posted 11 o'clock at night in the hospital and have a bunch of wires hooked up to your chest. Like, that's not exactly where you want to be. Yeah. And my thought, I did a Florida podcast last night. They wanted me on. I was like, I don't know anything. I'm not a doctor, but you spend a couple nights in the hospital. doesn't feel like you're going to head right out there into the swamp and knock heads with a bunch of 300-pound people. Seems like you might need a little bit of time, but great to hear that that is not the case. First and foremost for his health, second for the team. They need him.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely doing it. Listening to Coach Kelly, I don't think he was too alarmed with the situation, even when it first happened, listening to him in the presser and him talking about Will and just that whole situation. I didn't think that would be like a thing, oh, he's out for 2 months or he's out for 5 weeks. They kind of just thought it was a day-to-day thing, and I think that's exactly what it was, especially when all those tests are coming back negative. It's nothing really, too damaging going on. And so, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I think, missing last week's game, getting some days to recover, obviously that's going to help the body, and then obviously getting a full week of practice will help. And I think when Saturday rolls around, he'll be ready to go. He's a young kid.
That's when LSU's got the football. When Florida has the football, they'll be snapping it inexplicably to a Florida Gator that's still wearing 15. We got to get rid of guys wearing 15 in Gainesville. That needs to stop. But Anthony Richardson is wearing 15, and this will be Brian Kelly's first look at them.
Yeah, I've said this, I think, earlier in the week in my press conference. There's some similarities between him and Hendon Hooker in terms of size and physicality, his ability to throw the football. These are similar quarterbacks, and they're talking about Hooker as a Heisman Trophy candidate. So, he's got incredible skill. We're going to have to do a great job of containing him. They've got an outstanding offensive line that protects him very well and allows him to run the football, which gives him the opportunity to obviously have a balanced offense and throw the football because they're so good at running the football. So a very talented player.
I mean, I guess on the surface there's something. They're both big and have had massive lead productions. I don't see any other similarities between the two. Hendon Hooker is cooking a tempo offense, throwing the ball down the field, throwing for 350 a game, and no interceptions, and is making great decisions consistently. Anthony Richardson is a deer who can run with corners and safeties and has made some very poor decisions and has had some games where they haven't been productive at all. And Hooker's really old and has been around college football 6 years, and Richardson is in his first year as a full-time starter. I don't necessarily see the comps. They both have phenomenal strengths, but Hooker's playing at one level, and Richardson has not reached that consistently.
Yeah, I think for maybe open field tackling purposes, maybe they're both bigger guys that are probably tough for 5'11", 5'10" defensive backs to get on the ground. But as far as anything else, they are nothing alike. You got a quarterback who has 5 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. You compare him anything to what Hendon Hooker is doing. He got the magical goose egg, man. Like, how many quarterbacks in the SEC have that magical goose egg? I think he's the only one standing, only one surviving right now. So, no, I don't see anything remotely close to them as passers of the football. Even just the way, Hooker operates that offense, he's in full control. And we've kind of seen the back and forth play of Anthony Richardson. You don't know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates with that kid. Like one week you may get 450 yards passing, the next week you may get 70. So him and Hendon Hooker, no. We're not comparing those two guys.
However, Anthony Richardson has had some games where he's gone nuts. He went nuts against Tennessee this year, threw for 450 yards, and quite frankly, he diced LSU last year.
It was a breakout performance for him last year. I mean, young quarterback that, played very, very well on the road. That says a lot. I mean, that gave him a lot of confidence to continue to grow.
He was good last year. I mean, I remember that play where Mullen had somebody coming across in motion. They faked the handoff. Richardson then faked running the other way, ducked his head, came back up, hit the guy that was in motion on a wheel route. Right after seeing there's nobody there. They were cooking there for a little bit. And I know that McLaughlin stepped in there for a pick six, and they couldn't stop the run worth anything when LSU had the football. But they were scoring just about at will, and Anthony Richardson was a huge part of that.
Yeah, he was. And I think, he's one of those guys where I feel like if things are starting well for him, it can get out of hand real quick. He'll fill up that box score. He'll run it down your throat. He'll throw some big-time passes. But you may force a turnover early, then things could, the wheels could fall off of that thing. So I hate to keep sounding like the same broken record, but you got to shut him down quick. You can't let him get off to a fast start. It's not Auburn where you kind of have that guy rolling at a high clip and he just can't do anything in the second half. Like, Richardson's one of those guys where we've seen, like, if he starts off some of these games and not really playing well, it kind of just sticks that way for the whole game. So for this LSU defense, you don't have to deal with this tempo again. I know everyone wants to kind of copy off Chip Kelly and Heupel and all this stuff, but They just do it at a different level. So you don't have to worry about the tempo. I think you can definitely be a lot more multiple. Hopefully we can get Harold Perkins, maybe get a Harold Perkins sighting, get that spy on Anthony Richardson. I love when they implemented that against Ashford, force some turnovers, force them to try to extend some plays and force some throwaways. So, yeah, I think this is a perfect week to kind of implement that same strategy again.
Look, I like Rob Sale. I never met him, but he played football for LSU, so that I like. And he did a nice job as an offensive coordinator at Louisiana Lafayette. And I'm sure he'll do a nice job at Florida. But if you gave me, an LSU supporter, the option to have Dan Mullen calling plays on Saturday for Florida or Rob Sale calling plays for Florida on Saturday, I'm going to choose Rob Sale because I think Dan Mullen is as good a play caller as I've seen in the SEC. And so, there's room for growth here with Richardson because there's such an immense amount of talent. They just haven't unlocked it for 4 quarters at a time consistently enough. Florida, unbelievable performance. Kentucky, not very great. Threw a pick 6, threw another pick. That was an incredible play, but South Florida wasn't great. But, he was pretty good against Eastern Washington, whatever, and he played well against Utah. So it's up and down. And you caught, Mississippi State on a little bit of a down. You caught Tennessee on an up, and hopefully you're catching this one on a down here with Florida because if so, you're going to get a couple of turnovers. They may get a little bit frustrated. We'll see. But, man, if he gets going, it's not good.
No, it's not good. It's not good because you can just see the confidence forming, and I know it's going to be in the swamp. And to me, really kind of hasn't had those best. I guess the Utah games are probably the best game he's played in the swamp, but all those other games, he just has not played well at home. But I know what this LSU rivalry does. So you kind of got to throw everything out the window. And I think for LSU, it's going to give you a great opportunity to not overlook this kid and really prepare the way you need to because if he's having a day, I've said it before the season starts, Florida goes as AR-15 goes. If he's having a bad day, their chances of winning just goes extremely exponentially lower. If he's having a great day, look out because he will light you up on fire. So I think for this defense, got to contain them. I feel good about the matchups with the cornerbacks and the DBs and the receivers on the outside, but this is going to be an AR-15 shutdown game. If you can do that, it's going to definitely help your chances of winning.
We will be diving deep into the Florida Gators over the next 2 days. Kind of a glance at Florida and LSU today, as generally is the case. On Wednesday, we'll hear from Nick Delatorre, who covers the Gators. We'll hear from him tomorrow. Kind of get a thought on Florida, and we'll also dive into statistics, matchups, film, all that kind of stuff. Kind of moves forward on Thursday as we move you towards a 6 o'clock kickoff in the Swamp on Saturday between LSU and Florida. LSU and Florida, members of the Southeastern Conference. I think you're aware of that. So are 12 other teams. Now we've got to rank them. We'll do that next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
LWCC celebrating champions of Louisiana right here in Baton Rouge, right here in our great state, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge all month long here in October. We're telling you about Fresh Junkie Racing.
Yeah, Fresh Junkie Racing is a group of racing enthusiasts that have taken their love of running and built a business providing citizens across the state a way to get moving and stay moving. Created by athletes for athletes, Fresh Junkie Racing hosts world-class racing events and triathlons right here in Louisiana, welcoming crowds from across the state from the globe to welcome this place we call home.
Look, I don't do a lot of moving, as Jeremy said, on Thanksgiving generally. However, if you would like to, Fresh Junkie Racing got the turkey trots here in Baton Rouge. Over in St. Tammany, you can get involved 8 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day. So if you want to do that, head out to the website for Fresh Junkie Racing. The Louisiana Marathon, which Fresh Junkie puts on, $5.2 million in economic impact here to our great state. And that means, look, they're keeping people healthy, they're promoting a healthy lifestyle, and doing a great job in our economy here in Louisiana. Fresh Junkie Racing is a champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdacody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money.
Week 7 in the prep football season, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic Eye and Central kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, it's that time of the week. Time for some SEC power rankings. We will rank them 1 to 14. Usually when you do something like this, you start kind of at the bottom and go to the top, kind of build drama. There's not that much drama at the top. There's more drama from like 5 to 12.
Yeah,
so we kind of
right.
build towards that.
Yeah.
But we'll start with the top here. Jeremy, you can fire away first.
Yeah.
What you got for your top 4?
I'm going with the hottest team in the SEC in the number 1 spot. I'm going with 10, man. I think I'm sipping that hypo juice.
Tennessee number 1.
Yeah, I'm sipping that hypo juice right now. Look, I saw that.
I don't even hate that.
Look, I saw that offense like burned into my brain. Like it's I don't know what you do with it. Like, what do you do with that? They're literally on the ball like 20. There's not even 21 seconds. They're running another play. Like, what do you do with that? And you got a quarterback, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's not putting the ball in harm's way. And even when he does, he fumbles, they just pick it up and go for 2 yards. Like, it's just ridiculous what they're doing there. And I think, when you have that momentum, you have that confidence, it changes things. And so I look at them against Georgia. Georgia, to me, is taking a step back. You look at what you saw with Alabama, who's been playing teams closely. Like,
yeah,
I got to ride with the hype train, man. I got to go with Tennessee number 1. 2, I'm going to go with Georgia. We saw the next coming of Lamar Jackson last week, and Stetson Bennett didn't think he had that in the cooler.
Move it.
Yeah, he looked like he had some speed to burn there. But, yeah, I think beating Auburn the way they did, I'm not going to – it's not going to send me off the radar here. But Georgia number 2. 3, Alabama, man. More chinks in the armor than I expected going into the season. And then you parlay that with the Bryce Young situation. obviously you're dealing with the shoulder. You're another hit away from dinging that same shoulder again.
That makes this tough.
Yeah,
with quarterbacks being iffy.
Yeah, so I think Alabama for me, and then no kicker, man. Saban, like, you're the GOAT. Like, can you get a kicker? Like, that's going to cost you, man. We've seen it before. Like, you got to figure that out. So I got Alabama at 3, then 4. I got my man Lane, baby. Got my man Lane Train. Look, he had me a little worried against the Doors last week. But that offense, he's got Dart playing well. My boy PicKell is like, look, man, don't jump off Jackson too quick, man. He can throw it. He can sling it a little bit, and that's what he's done with that slow start to the season. And they got 2 backs who can really, really run it. So I got Tennessee 1, Georgia 2, Alabama 3, and Ole Miss at 4.
I still got Georgia number 1. That first quarter against Auburn wasn't great, but then they blitzkrieged them. They're only allowing 10.7 points per game. Kind of same type deal they were doing last year to an extent. Did embarrass Oregon when the lights were bright. They embarrassed South Carolina when it was still a lot of buzz there. Bad 2 weeks, but I'm still not gonna come off Georgia just yet with a proven quarterback and a really, really talented roster. Look, I got Bama at number 2. We'll see what we decide to do on Friday with these picks. Milrow's not it. I mean, he's not very good right now, period. And Bryce Young was that team for the first month of the season. I don't know what Bryce Young's deal is. If he's out there, I'm going to have a hard time betting against him, against anybody, straight up, because of how much I think of Bryce Young and how good he is. He willed them to a win in Austin. So if I knew more about what his availability was or where he was moving forward, maybe, but I've still got them at 2. Tennessee's 3. Look, number 5 scoring D in the SEC, thanks to LSU in part. They might have a little bit of a defensive identity. I did not know the stat last week going into the game. Matt Moscone used it, said, look, they've got number 1 in the country in stuff rate. In terms of runs forced to go for 0 or negative yards, Tennessee leads. And if they're just going to be super aggressive on defense, stuff the run, get after the passer, maybe force a turnover here or there, that's maybe enough for them defensively, even if they're not great. So they looked okay to me on defense on Saturday. They certainly got the stops when they needed to on 4th down. So, you know, I don't disagree with your take totally to have them at number 1, but I'm trying to avoid a little bit of recency bias of what we saw in Tiger Stadium. Let's see him do it in Knoxville against Alabama this week. And I'm right there with you, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got Ole Miss. Dart threw for 448 against Vandy, which is nice. They're 6-0. How about this? They have not played an SEC West game yet. That's all that's left on their schedule, just the West. They've played their 2 East and Kentucky and Vanderbilt, and they haven't played anybody in the SEC West. So the rest of their schedule is their division.
All righty, here. Yeah, no, that's whoever their AD is. And look, that's a great way to start a season if I ever seen one. So, yeah, this is where all the fun stuff happens. 5 through, 12, it's like.
I got one big mover in mind.
Yeah, so 5, I got Mississippi State. I think Rogers, I know Hooker's going to get a lot of love, but I think you can make a case he's playing the best quarterback. Right behind Hooker in the SEC right now. It's 2,100 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. That's the air raid if you ever wanted to see what that looks like. That's what Rodgers is doing with that offense right now. And I know they play a team without a quarterback, but he's playing it well. And I know that loss in Baton Rouge, we talk about it every year. Leach is going to, lose a game. Like, what are you doing? And they're going to, light you up on fire in some games. But that's Mississippi State. Now it's like, okay, what's going on here? I put Kentucky at 6. I think with Levis in that team, it's just a totally different team here. With Levis at the quarterback position, and hopefully they get him back soon. But really, after this, it's like
there's some significant flaws moving forward.
Yeah,
and Kentucky's not immune to that without having a quarterback.
Yes, exactly. So 7, man. Look, I got to keep my Tigers to remotely respectable. Look, 247.
You don't got to.
247 had them at 8. So I mean, that's not too crazy to have them at 7 here. That's just. That Florida State game, man, you got to kick that extra point. We'd be looking at this team just so much more differently if you just found a way to just kick that extra point, squeeze out a win in overtime, and go for it here.
They got their butts kicked against Florida State.
Yeah, it's just bad. But I got them at 7 right now. 8, I went with Florida. Just that. Talk about flaws. Like, that team is just back and forth. You know what you're going to get. Almost losing at home to South Florida. You've somehow beat Utah, which I think maybe not getting – they may not be as great as people thought. Looking at how they played.
in the playoff preseason. Already lost 2 games.
Yeah. They may not be as great as people thought. So maybe we're valuing that one a little bit more than we should, especially with Florida being at home. But I got Florida at 8 with AR-15. I think, his explosive ability any given Saturday, you got to respect that. So, yeah, I got Florida at 8.
So last week, my number 9 team was Mississippi State, and I said, this is just where they're going to stay. They're, this is who they are. And then immediately, 7 days later, I turn around and move them up to 5, just like you did, because they've been as consistent. LSU looks like the outlier now. The last 2 weeks, they played Texas A&M and Arkansas, and they outscored them 82-41. They doubled them up. They are playing great, and I don't know what happened to them in Tiger Stadium, but nice win for the Tigers. We'll take it. Mississippi State with Rogers, that defense has been pretty good, and teams are having trouble slowing them down. So credit to them. I've got them at number 5. I've got UK at 6 here. They are toothless without Will Levis. That is for sure. He is expected to play this week. Look, they didn't have him last week. They scored 14 points against South Carolina. So you better play well against Mississippi State at home at night, or you're going to be moving down south here in a hurry here on these power rankings. So I've got Kentucky at 6. I got Florida at 7. Here's the deal with Florida, and we'll dive deep into this tomorrow with our matchup stuff. But look, 12th in the league in scoring defense, 13th in rushing defense, 11th in passing defense, 12th in total defense. Defense has not been good enough, and too much of up and down with Anthony Richardson. It can be good, but sometimes it's not. So I've got them at 7. And then at 8, I've got a team that's lost 3 straight here, which is not good. Defense has given up 89 points in the last 2 games. That's terrible. But KJ Jefferson, a little dinged up, didn't have him. They got issues. Yeah. But I liked them for the first 2 weeks, and I think they've got some good coaches and a pretty good quarterback when he's healthy and can play. They gave it away against Texas A&M. They gave that game away. But, look, everybody here's got some issues. I'll take Arkansas here at number 8, the lesser of the issues, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, that's another team that to me like little less than expectations going into the season, but you lose your quarterback and you lose to a bad Texas A&M football team.
They go to BYU this week, do the Hogs.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But yeah, I'm right. We're not too far off. I got Arkansas at 9 for me. You got the leading rusher in the SEC and Raheem Sanders. He's almost at 700 yards rushing already through the season. And then you have the number 1 sack leader in Sanders as well. So I think for them, it's a tricky season. I know they're well coached. I know they it's a team that they're going to go as KJ Jefferson goes. So I got them at 9. When I think they get him back, I think that's a lot different football team. 10, I got South Carolina at 10. Winning last week, I had to bump them up a little bit, but it's just not like I love what I'm seeing.
Beat the Levis-less Wildcats.
Yeah. The last 5 are just, come on. Like, it's just not beautiful here. But I got Texas A&M at 11. I thought playing Bama the way they did, I think Milroe had a big part to do with that. I think if Bryce Young's in that football game, jeez, it would have got ugly. They would have actually covered the spread for me. I thought, gave it a little bit too much credit to saving the crew in that one without Bryce. But I got A&M at 11 with Haynes King at quarterback. It's just, how can you not score from the 1 yard line?
It's not good.
Can't score from the 1. That's just bad football. So got them at 11. 12, I got Missouri. Drinkwitz, put up a good fight, battle it out a couple quarters, fight, but lose at the end. So
yeah. They lose a lot.
lose a lot of SEC games. So I got them up at 12 because they have been somewhat competitive. And then 13, who would have thought? Just beautiful times in the Plains. Auburn down all the way down to 13. Just who would have thought it? Just bad. That was I thought just so many points. You couldn't cover at all. Couldn't give me
thought they were going to cover. No, they could not.
Cover at all. Asterisk, that was probably one of the worst performances I've seen from a quarterback. No, it's a Georgia defense. No, you're on the road, but that was just absolutely bad. I don't know how Harsin is still coaching that football team, but that's
how we give up 300 yards passing to him.
Well, that's just another conversation as well. So yeah, and I think this week we don't talk about 14. At least I'm not going to talk about 14 because I think everyone can do process of elimination. And kind of figure out the last SEC team we haven't talked about. I don't know if there's many talking points to do that. So, yeah, I'll just give you guys 1 through 13 this week because I think it's just very fitting for this week.
I'll give you 14 a little bit later. Number 9, I've got LSU. We know what LSU is. That was a little disheartening on Saturday, but it's week to week. So let's see if they can regroup and go out there and play a little bit better the next week. I've got A&M at 10. Nice moral victory for the Ags there. Celebrate it, hang a banner, make a cup or something. Evan Stewart is very good for them. The wide receiver is very, very good. He had 8 catches, 106 yards against Alabama, so he's a guy that I think is going to be a handful the next couple of years. I got South Carolina at 11. They've won 3 straight. Now they head to a bye, so they'll go a month without losing, but they're still not very good. I looked at Spencer Rattler's game log today. There's not a single game he's played statistically what I would call quote-unquote good. There have been either 2 turnovers against a bad team or throw for 148 yards, or not a single game that I thought his line was good. So I'm not ready to trust them just yet. I got Missouri at 12. They're off this week. Is Eli going to get another win? Vanderbilt's next.
Man,
we'll see if the Doors can get one.
Look, if Eli, I said it earlier, joking around this is, if you lose to Vanderbilt, I will drive in my F-250 to Missouri myself and knock on Eli's door. Dude, get out of here, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't play Georgia tight at home and then go lose to the Doors. Like, no.
Did
please.
you hear the news out of Auburn, Alabama this week?
Can't be good news.
It's not great news, I think. I'm reading the tea leaves here and jumping to some conclusions a little bit. I'll bring up my jump to conclusions, Matt. They're not allowing their players to speak to the media this week.
Ooh, who are they playing this week?
This week they're playing Ole Miss on the road.
Oh, yeah, that lane train, man. Lane train, they be pumping that
they're
fear.
Not. I just don't think they want their players answering questions about their coach for a whole week. You lose 42-10 on the road at Athens. What do you think the media is going to ask their players?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm sure that the players are probably having player meetings. Isn't the type of time that those should kind of be happening? The coaches out
in crisis. Yeah, that would be
it.
Yeah,
we stink. We literally can't even score a point in the second half after being up 17-0. We lost to a team with 5 passing yards in a half. Player meeting.
And number 14, that's going to be my Commodores, who once again had a 17-point lead and had a 3-point lead and were catching 17 in the second half and couldn't cover against Ole Miss. Couldn't even get close to covering against Ole Miss. So I'm displeased with you from a gambling perspective. 2 years in a row, Vanderbilt, Coach Lee, get it together. Think you might win a game next weekend against Missouri. You may not.
Yeah, doubt it.
That'll do it for SEC Power Rankings. We'll come back and close it out next on Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code 1045 ESPN.
Look, I know you can't wait to bet this Thursday night game. Washington at Chicago. Just saw what the Bears are wearing. They're wearing orange uniforms. They're not going to look good, but I'm the uniform guy. We don't have to talk about that. You can bet it, though. The Bears are a 1-point favorite against Washington in Chicago. FanDuel's got all your favorite bets, money line, point spreads, player props. You can live bet the game during the game if you see something you like. Odds change consistently. You can hit that button, lock in a bet, and it's all on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. So sign up today with the promo code 1045ESPN for your no-sweat first bet. That is promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issues is not withdrawable free bet that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're someone who knows a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah! Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. Peter Burns and Russ Mitchell join the show. We'll head up to Cincinnati, take a closer look at the Bengals. It's a Whiskey Wednesday. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I got about 5 minutes to go here on a Wednesday edition of Hunt and Hill. As we do to finish up the show each and every day, we'll do some Take It or Leave It. Fire away, Mr. Hill.
All right. After the viral video of him punching teammate Jordan Poole, Draymond was not suspended for his action, but only fined by the team, with Steve Kerr stating that he broke the team's trust, but he's done enough throughout his career to gain the benefit of the doubt. Are you taking or leaving? Punching a teammate does not warrant a suspension.
I'll leave it. I don't know the dynamics of that team. They've been really tight for a long time. They've won a lot of games together, and they understand who Draymond is and the way that he carries himself, especially on the basketball court. But coming from a natural peacemaker who has no confrontational bone in their entire body and wouldn't punch anybody unless it absolutely had to happen for personal safety, I just think it's ludicrous for a human being to act like that on a basketball court. And I think it's horrible for the team. I think it's hard to trust somebody and to want to be around somebody that's throwing punches. There's nothing that could have been said on that basketball court that would have justified that reaction to me. Now, there are some people that will disagree with that, but I don't know what happened. It just seems ridiculous. And
I think for me, the thing that made this thing just absolutely crazy, they suspended him for a game for telling Kevin Durant that, we don't need you on this team. They suspended him one game for that, so that should tell you about everything.
There are football fights all the time between teammates, but you got pads and helmets on. I mean, this was awful. I hate it. The Rams have placed their guard David Edwards on IR. It's resulted in them signing free agent center Max Skura. He's going to be the fourth center they've played in 6 weeks. Rams need to get Andrew Whitworth on the horn. Take it or leave it.
Look, I'll take that because since he left that offensive line, that's just so, dude. Like, I feel bad for Matty Staff. Like, I know he's in the cold tub, he's getting massages, he's in the training room all day. His body can't feel good, especially for a quarterback who's played the amount of time in the NFL he has. But I know Whitworth's got that nice, Thursday night job. We'll see him, check him out tomorrow night.
A lot of time on the golf course for Whit.
Yeah, a lot of time on the golf course. But yeah, they could definitely use Mr. Whitworth right about now. All right,
he's a member at Riviera or LACC where they're having the US Open next year. Like, he's got it going okay out there in LA.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl ring to match. So yeah, he's A-okay right now. All right, you'll love this one. It's probably shocking for you here. Cade Kistner of Sports Illustrated, he thinks the Chicago Cubs are poised for a huge offseason of spending, with Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts saying the current roster will be substantially supplemented. Cubs breaking out the paycheck this offseason. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it until they do it. They did it at one point, and then the ownership got cranky and ripped the wallet and the credit card away. There are no players left. Go get some players. Trey Turner, Carlos Correa, Carlos Rodon, Aaron Judge. Go get some players. I'm sick of watching Rizzo hit homers in the postseason while Frank Schwindel is playing first base for the Chicago Cubs. It's ridiculous.
I love it.
Why do you put that in Take It or Leave It? And you know I'm going to blow a gasket?
It's a fascinating story. They said they're going to break the paychecks out. Why not?
Listen, I watch the winter meetings every year anxiously, like, who are the Cubs going to get? Who are the Cubs? And they don't do it, as usual. All right, got 2 minutes left here. We'll fire things up one more time. Brent Sobieski, Bleacher Report, made a list. 5 QBs should not be with their current franchises in the 2023 season. Jameis Winston made that list. Jameis, done after this year in New Orleans. Take it or leave it.
I know you said they're investing in them, but I don't know, man. You normally got to get some skins on the wall, win some games, and turning it over when that's like kind of been your biggest Achilles heel, and you're starting to bring those kind of, demons back for the Saints. I don't know, and I think Andy Dalton isn't that answer either, but I don't know. If things kind of go off the rails here, I know they can't trade up and get any picks, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. Not a lot of
picks for Sean Payton signing somewhere.
Now that seems more feasible. And I'm the Saints. Look, we're gonna need 2 first-rounders for Mr. Sean P, Super Bowl winning head coach, best play caller in all football. Yeah. We're gonna need that, and then probably get maybe Bryce Young. Who knows what's gonna happen next year? But I don't see the avenue for Jameis coming back to the Saints next year.
You get Haynes King still has another year of eligibility, so he won't be in there.
Oh man. No, that's
can't
not
grab
fair.
Brady Cook from Missouri. Rattler, he can be in the draft.
Oh no!
I'm done naming bad SEC quarterbacks. That's my bad. That'll do it for us here on a Wednesday edition of Hunt and Hill. Go back and check out our stuff on demand, 1045ESPN.com, on demand page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Our first segment today was kind of inspired by some stuff T-Bob said earlier today about how much pressure Brian Kelly's on to outperform Billy Napier. I just kind of disagree. If you want to hear my side of things, Jeremy's side of things, you can do that on demand with our opening segment today. JD PicKell of On3 Sports were great. Talked LSU-Florida rivalry as well. And we had our SEC Power Rankings in hour number 2. Jimmy Ott's Game Time, 6 to 8 this evening. Matt's going to drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further View. I don't think Myers is going to make an appearance today, but he did yesterday. Catch that on demand, too. See y'all tomorrow. Hunt and Hill.